Hello everyone, this is Starborne Frontiers. It's a mobile auto battler type game, but it has a PC client available through Steam, and unlike other games of this nature, it's very clear that the devs are invested in making a proper strategy game. I've enjoyed figuring out strategies for the fights despite my playing it like a dirty casual. I thought I'd show you all three recent battles I enjoyed working through with my meager level 50 and 40 ships, mostly only decked in blue gear. There is some purple epic gear, maybe one or two pieces of legendary gear. So let's have a look, shall we? So the first fight is in the Abyss. So I've finished the first 3 out of 4 abysses, and in entropy I'm up to Deadbeat, which that's a whole other story I won't get into on this. So let's go into here the third one, the second last one, fighting Ignis. Now Ignis is an interesting fight. So let's get into the battle with Ignis. So this is Ignis, which is an interesting boss fight. Ignis here spawns, so Ignis starts with 2 of these little tanky things, and then each round it makes 2 more. So you have to kill the 2 little tanky things each round. If you don't, Ignis will eat the ones that exist, heal itself, and do a bunch of damage to your whole team. So the crucial thing with Ignis is that each round you have to have enough damage going to the first and the second slots to kill both of them to make sure when the next round starts they are dead, and when Ignis spawns 2 more, you're going to kill those next 2 in 1 round. If you don't kill them in 1 round, Ignis is going to heal itself and do a bunch of damage to your whole crew. So what I've done, the Ignis and these little tanky things she has are thermal, so I'm using mostly electric DPS to get the affinity advantage. But the main thing is that my DPS hit the front and the second enemy. So you can see here, Ripper hits the front and the second enemy. Crucialis, who is a rare, she's not even an epic or a legendary, but I'm using her for this. In fact, Crucialis, the thing with her is when she crits, she doesn't just do her extra normal damage, she does even more damage. And she's the only ship I have where I've actually used crit gear, and that's brought her up to 100% crit and 67% crit power to make sure we get that big damage out of her every single time she hits. And she hits the second target and the target in front, so she's perfect with this one hitting the front and the next. Then we have Tormentor, who is a defense unit, but I've never used her that way because her skills and everything are not as good as the other tanks. She has damage reduction as her health goes down, but there's other tanks that are better. What she does do, though, is she has 160% damage. She buffs people around her, which is why I've got only a palace, which we'll get to in a minute. Again, more damage. If she's below 50% health, which she won't be in this, but it helps in some other fights, she actually gains an extra action. And the important thing is her passive is she always critically hits, which is why I don't have her in any kind of tank gear. I'm using her as a damage dealer. I've got her in offensive gear that gives her heaps of crit power. I'm even using the Abysmal Assault gear, which gives crit power along with attack. And of course the main thing is her pattern. She hits the front person and the one behind it. So all 3 of these, they're all electric DPS. They all hit the front and second person. So their job is to kill the 2 of these things each round. Now, the other thing with the boss is each time it spawns a new pair of these, they get plus 10% health. So at the start, Ripper and Crucialis can probably take them out. But as time goes on, especially as you're about to see, maybe the second last round, it can be that they can't quite take them out. And that's where Tormentor, instead of just helping Pallas kill the boss, ends up being a backup to make sure they always die. And so yes, then there's Pallas, who is a high DPS unit. Any of you who play this game will know. Her job is just to smash the boss. And we've got Volk. And again, any of you who play this know Volk is a healer. And so long as we kill the 2 of these each round, then the amount of damage going out will be low. It will be Pallas that cops it because the boss smashes whoever has the highest defense. And I'm running Of all these, Pallas has the highest defense, so she's going to tank. But so long as these die, it's not that much damage. And Volk mainly does buffing to the person in front and behind, which I want Volk buffing Ripper and Crucialis to take out. These always take out the two, but Volk will also heal Pallas the little bit Pallas needs. Anyway, enough with all that. Here's the fight. You'll see Ripper and Crucialis are taking out these little tanky things that boss spawns in one round, no problems. Let's see if near the end they can't quite take one of them out, and Tormentor might be needed to make sure they get taken out. But we've got a little while to go yet. Pallas is just smacking the boss, and Tormentor will also just help Pallas smack the boss unless Tormentor is needed to take out one of those little tanky things. Boss's health is going down. Ripper and Crucialis with Volk's buffs are doing well. Right, now let's see if Ripper and Crucialis manage to not quite take out one of these. No. Ripper and Crucialis getting them. Maybe this last round with the boss. Is the boss going to get to do it? Alright, so Tormentor wasn't actually needed for a backup thing that time. She sometimes is with me with this crew. This time she didn't. We got some good crits. It's all good. So you can see here, it's pretty interesting. Like you see, Pallas is not max damage because that's not her job's not really that. Well, her job is to kill the boss. But Crucialis, who is a rare, not an epic like the rest of these lot, did the most damage by far. And that's the way it works with this fight. It's not a normal fight. You need to hit the front two people. Pallas hits a back person. You need big damage going on the front two. And Ripper and Crucialis did that, and Tormentor wasn't needed as a backup this time. But if these two hadn't been able to take out those little tanks near the last rounds, Tormentor would have got them. So up next, I'm into the 9th planetary system on the Brutal campaign with my pack of level 50 and 40 scrub ships. Let's go in here. So the last and second last stages in Museum Tunnel, I found them interesting because a lot of damage was coming out in them. My DPS, I don't have enough DPS to just overwhelm the enemy's damage. So instead I had to figure out living through their damage and just whatever DPS I could muster, slowly and eventually killing the enemy. Alright, so with this one, so my ships, there's Pallas at the front, and that's because none of these ships actually hit the front except for Sinya, and Volk's heals on Pallas if needed will be enough. So then there's Volk is next. Volk is a healer, but Volk's main thing really is that Volk does huge damage buffs to the person in front and behind, which is why I have, don't get me wrong, Volk does healing. Volk will heal 30% of whoever's missing the most health and heal himself, because I've managed to recently get him to refit too, so he also heals himself. And the main thing he's doing though really is he's putting the huge buffs on Pallas, because Pallas is the only DPS I got in here. She's my best DPS, but by herself she needs things like the buffs from Volk to do it. So Volk will help with healing, but mainly he's buffing up Pallas. And then in the back row, which you'll see most of the damage from the enemies, except for Sinya, is all going to that back row. So we've got Maddox, who's a great tank up here. We got Salvation, a great healer, and we got Mackley, a great healer. Now Maddox does taunt, but I'm sure one of these has Concentrate Fire, and I think these ones, their attacks ignore taunt and provoke. So Maddox does taunt, but it's not going to do much in this fight. So the enemies, what do we got? A couple of basic electric. I say lightning because I play too many fantasy games where it's called lightning and electric. Fairly basic electric DPS. Sinya, yep, she is what she is. And again, what do we got here? Just so the concentrate fire, but some basic DPS. At the back here, what do we got? We got legendaries. We got 2 of the same legendary, which devs, we don't get to run 2 of the same unit. And they're doing big damage and even more damage if it's supporters. And putting people in stasis. And as I said, ignoring taunt and provoke. Yeah, so Maddox will be able to cope with it fine because it's thermal against an electric tank. However, my 2 chemical supporters back here, these healers, they're going to cop it. And yeah, they are. However, we are talking about Salvation and Macaulay, and they are amazing. And I'll start the fight now, and we'll see how it goes. You can see big damage already. Macaulay half health from 1 hit. Macaulay's great though. He got hit again and healed himself instantly because of his passive. Yeah, so that back row, Salvation, Macaulay, and Maddox, like they're taking all the damage, but they're coping. Palace is getting up there and took someone out. Palace should have more buffs on her at this point from Volk. I don't know if one of these enemies steals buffs or removes buffs or something. Palace is still rolling out alright damage either way. Again, there's a lot of damage being thrown at my back line, but there's just so much healing, and Maddox is a good tank that they're just copping it and living. Palace is just slowly killing the enemy. Oofed. See, they all just healed to full health, but then I see Macaulay is now almost dead. Like, there's big damage going to that back line. So Palace is rolling out the DPS now. Palace now has 5 buffs on her. That's what I like to see from Volk. And maybe herself. I think she puts a buff on if someone crit heals or something. Yeah, 42k damage in 1 hit. Palace is now rolling out big damage. The back line's healed itself. We got this. Come on, Palace, show us what you got. Oh, 17k. Where's the crit? I want to see 34k. There we go. 42k crit from Palace at the end. Alright, what do we look like on our info here? Salvation with the huge heals because she was healing heaps. Macaulay as well, and of course Volk did his bit, still putting out good heals and buffing the hell out of Palace to really ramp her damage up. And there we go, we win. Alright, now lastly, let's go into stage 7 of Mirzam and Tunnel on Brutal with me level 50 ships. What do we got here? So let's look at our side. Yeah, so I'm running triple healer and 2 DPS here, and we'll explain why. So Shelter, kind of got replaced for me as 360-degree healer by Salvation, but Shelter is... I sometimes have to bring Shelter back into the mix, sometimes I need thermal, and I'll explain it a bit more in a second. But Shelter, Macaulay is right behind Shelter, healing Shelter, going to explain shortly, and then Salvation is at the back, providing heals to these 2 DPS. So let's get into the reasoning for this. So what we've got is we have this legendary and Pangyuan. And Pangyuan is a bomb person. And we all know that bombs are hardcore because they, as it says here, bomb damage bypasses defense. So if you got bombs, you either need to have a bunch of security so the bombs don't go on in the first place, or you need to have a bunch of debuffers, cleansers to get rid of the bombs. Or the other option is your tanks won't be able to deal, well, your tanks that use defense won't be able to deal with the bombs because the bombs bypass defense. But your healers that have a bunch of health is not bypassed by the bombs. So you'll see even here with Salvation, who's an epic, while Shelter is a rare, even with the good gear I have on her, Salvation's 25k health, but Shelter, her health is just crazy. Shelter still is rolling almost 28k health. So Shelter's job here is not so much to be a healer, although she has to heal herself, that's important, and Mackley is also going to be healing her. Her job is actually to tank these bombs, because my tanks that have defense, the main thing is defense, they can't tank the bombs, but Shelter has extreme health, and that means she can tank the bombs. Now, otherwise, I'm putting DPS and DPS against DPS and DPS. So, of course, Butcher down here, which any of you who play this game will know Butcher is a pretty mad DPS. He's thermal, he's going up against a chemical DPS. He has an advantage there, although he's level 50 and he's going up against a 108 level chemical DPS. And then I've got Wisteria, who is just going chemical versus chemical. Again, going up against someone way higher level. Normally, 1 versus 1, my 2 DPS here would not beat these. However, they have got Salvation healing them. So the idea is that my 2 DPS will beat these 2 DPS because Salvation will be healing them. Shelter will manage to tank these nasty bombs from this legendary because she has such high health, and Mackley will help heal her. And also Mackley, of course, does cleanse. Mackley cleanses. And that's it. And now let's start the fight. Yeah, see, my 2 DPS take big damage from those other 2 DPS. You see, Butcher has the advantage, took down more damage than Wisteria. It's alright. The heals come in on them, and Butcher nearly killed that one in 2 hits, but the dots are on. And so you see, with Shelter's health and with Mackley's cleanses, she's fine. The Butcher's dots just killed the lower deep. Butcher then just killed the upper DPS. So now Butcher and Wisteria, no more damage for them. They'll be fine. Everyone else is fine. And, you know, Butcher is taking out that back nasty legendary chemical DPS. And they're now dead. So now all we have left now is this thermal tank. Now, Wisteria will not be that useful against the thermal tank because she's chemical. If Palace was here, she'd be wiping them out fast, but it's okay. Butcher is also thermal, so although he doesn't have positive affinity, he doesn't have negative affinity, and Butcher will grind down that thermal tank and kill it. And of course, all these healers here at the front, they'll just keep healing and healing and healing, and they've only got a tank's damage to worry about. So that's it. Basically, we're just waiting for Butcher to just grind down this thermal tank. And Wisteria's helping just a little bit, but Butcher's mainly doing the job. There you go. And there you go. Wisteria helped. I think Wisteria actually got the kill. And what is our stuff looking at? So you see, of course, Butcher did the most damage, doubled Wisteria's damage. What about our heals? What do we got? Salvation, of course, was healing more people, did massive heals. And Mackley did heals. And, of course, Shelter was mostly healing herself and was acting as the tank against those bombs. And there we go. We win.